Hi guys, I'm Stuart, he's Alan, and this is Outdoor Basics. And you shouldn't have tried any of this stuff at home. Hi guys, Stuart, Alan and the rest of the team here from Outdoor Basics, and today I'm going to talk about my version of the kind of mini Esee survival tin. I've attached this to my Esee 6, which is a pretty solid option for a survival knife. With this one I've just sharpened the spine up for striking a ferro rod, and I've rocky roaded the handle. On the sheath I've got a good few metres of 550 fire cord. I'm not going to talk about the knife itself, I've done that before. This is just a small tin I've attached with Ranger bands, and you would need to go some to be able to rip that off. I wanted it a kind of lower profile. I know that the ones you get, they come in a pouch. I just wanted a lower profile. So this is my kind of version of this Esee survival tin. And I'm going to talk about what I think they're for and what I think they're not for. So what this is not for, firstly, is indefinite survival in the wilderness. You're not going to take this wee tin, go off into the woods and survive indefinitely. That's not going to happen. But what this could enable you to do is, let's say you're out in the wilderness and you have a bit of a scenario. You're separated for your main kit. I would not be separated for my knife. If I've got this kit, I would have my knife. This is on my belt. I don't know why I've no clothes on in most of these. Like a lot of people when they talk about it scenarios, this is going to be in my pocket. It's going to be on my knife. I talk about a scalable system. Your pocket contents, you should have a good amount of pocket contents. If you look back through our previous videos, you'll see some suggestions for pocket contents, and you should be wearing appropriate clothing for the conditions that you're in. So yeah, going into my pocket contents and then wearing appropriate clothing and having a decent knife, this wee tin is going to enable you to survive for a short period, short to medium term period, I suppose, if you could push it, to either enable self-rescue or enable rescue, somebody to come and get you if you're going to stay in situ and wait for a pickup. So yeah, the outside of the tin itself, I've got some glow-in-the-dark tape so I don't lose the wee thing when I put it down. I just went with some earth tone colours to kind of match the kind of colour of the knife and stuff like that. I'm going to lift this in here so I can get the stuff inside it out. Okay, so the reason I'll say why I went with this tin over a Altoids tin in a wee second. So the first bit of usable kit, if you really want to, is this wee glow-in-the-dark bit of tape. I could use this with on my knife as a marker, so if I'm moving through the woods in the dark, the guys with me could follow it. Or I could use it as a marker to mark out my camp, like put it up at a decent, take the lid off, put it up at a decent height, and I'd be able to see it for a decent wee distance, just to kind of aid me if I really had to, just a wee option. Next, one of the most usable things that I've got on the outside is a fair amount, and I deliberately went with a fair amount. Got a good amount there, like a metre. A plastic electrical tape. I'm just going to stick that there. No, I won't actually, I'll lie it there. With that amount of tape, I could use that to deal with any cuts, nicks, plaster, decent wee kind of cuts into my body that I get with that amount of tape, because I want to get a barrier between getting infection and the outside. So yeah, that tape can be used as a decent wee kind of plaster or gear repair. So before I get right into it, excuse me, and as I've said, in the real world I run a MMA gym, a kickboxing gym, and last night loads of my guys were fighting and I was having to shout instructions into them in the ring the whole night, so my throat is dead. The reason I chose this tin over an Altoids tin is, you'll see that wee rubber seal? So when I push that on and I tape it, that wee rubber seal, that wee rubber seal provides a kind of extra wee bit of waterproofness for sealing the tin. On the top there, I've got a striker for my matches, which I'll show you later. I'm going to name various companies as I go through this, just to say the companies have not sponsored me, they've not gave me anything, I paid for everything. I'm only saying where I got the stuff so that people can go and get it for themselves. And I wouldn't say where I got it. I wouldn't have it if I didn't believe in it and I didn't think it was good. Nobody sponsored me anything. I'm just saying the names of the companies so you can go and get it yourself. I'm going to just kind of let you see, let you have a look there. It's a full wee tub. It's got loads in it. And I've covered many of the 10 C's, I suppose you could call it, or as I've covered as many of the main priorities of survival for me as I can, and I've got a few redundancies. So all I'm going to do is tip it out, and then I'm just going to move through it as I go. So now I've tipped it out, I'm just going to kind of arrange it, and then I'll talk about it once I've arranged it, yeah. Okay guys, so I'm going to talk from left to right. As you can see, it's quite an array of kit, and I'll explain what it is. I've got cutting tools, I've got shelter building / trapping, so going out and getting food procurement and shelter tools. I've then got fire, combustion items, as well as tinder and kindling for getting my fire. I've got kind of first aid, gear repair or personal repair, navigation and lighting to aid navigation, and then water. So with what I've got here, I could build a shelter, try and get some scran, cook some scran, get some water, purify some water, and take care of some basic medical needs, as well as try and effect rescuing myself with navigation. And I've got some basic cutting implements that I could use to skin animals, or at a push get some feather sticks and stuff like that together to try and get a fire on the go. But as I said, if I have this tin, I will have this knife. I've not had my clothes blown off in a big wind or something. Your kit needs to go together, yeah. Okay, so for left to right, basic cutting implement, just a standard Stanley knife, ridiculously sharp, and I've actually demonstrated this before, a way of making feather sticks and stuff like that with it, and how to put it into a kind of makeshift scalpel type knife, effective wee tool. I'll maybe do that at a later date actually. Next, from Jacobite Solutions, I've got a wee kind of scalpel blade. What is this? Is it a carbon? No, what is it again? Ceramic, sorry, a ceramic razor blade type thing. Absolutely awesome. Could be used for skinning an animal or anything like that. So yeah, there's some basic cutting tools. Included in that cutting tool is a survival saw, a commando saw from Wazoo Survival Gear, and a straw, so I can put that there. There is a way of using these. I've seen people trying to do it like this. There is a way of using these that makes them an incredibly effective saw. If you look at our video on how to make your own wee paracord reel, I'll show you how to do it, but I'll do a wee separate video on how to most effectively use a commando saw. Next, I've got 6 metres, believe it or not, of brass wire. This was just a wee experiment to see how much I could get in, and I've ended up using it in my kit. 6 metres of braided brass wire. So I could build traps and shelters with that. I've got, I believe, 6 metres of, what do you call it? It's like heavy duty thread. I can't mind the name of the thread. It'll come back to me in a wee minute. No, it'll come back to me in a minute. But it's from Jacobite Solutions again. Really strong thread. The name of it will come back to me in a second. I can't remember. Next, again, from Wazoo Survival Gear, I've got a wee micro fishing kit with some kind of like sinkers, mini fishing hooks and safety pins, and then I've got some fishing line that I suppose I could also use for gear repair, but I'll get to that in a second. Loads of the items are multi-use in here, like the safety pins could be used for gear repair, or as a needle to pick any crap out of my skin, or as a fishing hook. So this is like a wee mini food procurement thing. I could build traps, I could fish, I could also use in this part of the kit effectively build a shelter. Because when you're not hunting, traps are, so I could have traps out and I could have a shelter built with what I've got here. Next, moving down, I've got this wee really cool fire steel for Jacobite Solutions that you can strike with the wee blade there, and you can also use the Stanley knife. But I just thought that was awesome, wee micro fire steel. What I've also got here is a straw myself, I made myself. I got loads of cotton wool, soaked it in Vaseline, crimped the end off of the straw, packed it full and then crimped that end off there, and that is just an outstanding. Cotton wool and Vaseline is an outstanding tinder. I've also got a wee tinder quick, and then I've got from Wazoo again as part of a wee micro survival kit I got from, not Wazoo, sorry, for Jacobite Solutions as part of a wee micro survival kit. It's wee cotton buds, you could open them all up and then just strike it, and it's going to go very quickly, but that would enable you to get your fire on the go. I just thought that was awesome. The standard windproof matches that I can strike on the lid. A party candle, but a joke one, do you know, the candles you light and you blow and they just keep lighting back up, so that if I'm trying to get a fire on the go to save my lighter, I can light this and use that to light my tinder, so it protects my lighter if I think I'm in a prolonged period, in a slightly more extended period. A party candle, and then a slightly bigger ferro rod. I think I just ripped that out of a shred fire steel that I had. I have a lot of stuff there for making a fire. Yes, I do, because a fire does multiple things. A, stops you freezing to death. B, allows you to cook food. C, allows you to purify water. And D, yeah, I'm about Nick, this is the limit, how far I can go into the alphabet. And D, it dispels fear. Like, when you're in a survival, or, I mean, imagine the reality of being in a real survival situation. If you manage to get a fire going in a deep dark forest or wherever you are, what that would do for your morale is exponential. It dispels fear, and it's just an essential thing, because most of the time it's not that people don't have the gear or they don't have the equipment or anything like that, or even the physical capability to survive. Their will to survive goes, their mind goes before the kit does. So if you manage to get a fire on the go, you're going to dispel fear and build morale. So that's why I've went really heavy on the fire kit, so that even in bad conditions I'm going to get a fire on the go. Moving along, I sealed this in a straw myself. 6 ibuprofen tablets. Why have I went with ibuprofen? Well, not only is ibuprofen a painkiller, it's also an anti-inflammatory. So if I have twisted my ankle or I have done whatever, the anti-inflammatory properties of the ibuprofen are going to keep that swelling down for a 24-hour period. That's pretty much how I've got a continued use. It's a short-term kit to allow me to try and get to safety. So yeah, ibuprofen, good bit of kit. Next, a large needle. I got this for Tesco. Go to the kind of sewing section of Tesco. It's kind of like Walmart in the UK. Go to Tesco and I got this large needle. You'll notice the size of the eye on it. I would be able to use this kind of fishing twine or even this string to stitch any kit up. I'm not going to start stitching myself up. I mean, holy shit, that would be a pretty intense experience to start stitching yourself up with one of these. Yeah, it's mostly for stitching kit up, not me. Next, a fair amount of, I folded it back in itself so it'll all come out. A fair amount of Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape again can be used for plasters, kit repair, and is a fantastic fire starter. So it's a multi-use item. Same as this can be used if I've got a scale for anything in my skin. I can't let it stay in there and get infected. I could use this sail needle to pick it out. I could also use this to get a fire on the go, repair any kit, and repair me. That's 3 items. Next, I didn't go for a wee tiny pair of crappy tweezers because there's nothing worse than trying to get something out and having a nightmare with it. I went with a decent set of tweezers that if I've got anything in my skin, I can get it out with these tweezers because I cannot let infection build. It's a problem. So that's a kind of first aidy type bit. Next, navigation, again from Jacobite Solutions. I got myself a wee button compass. Intermittently I'll open this tin up and just check that that compass is okay, that it's still pointing north and everything's all good. No, I'm not going to be cracking any bearings off it, however, it'll give me a general direction. Next, again, just a wee micro light. I got that from Jacobite Solutions. That wee light would enable me in the dark to check anything out that, you know, I could navigate. If I had to check any wounds or anything out, I could check it out. I could try and get attention with it as best I could. It does a load of things, but also again psychologically what it does is dispel fear. If I'm having an absolute mare trying to sort my life out, being able to just bang that wee torch on, and this has a wee switch that you can keep it on permanent, which is a good wee feature, is going to A, dispel some fear, and B, allow me to work more effectively. Because in a survival situation, part of mnemonic survival, the U is undue haste makes waste. So if you're rushing and flapping and being a bit of a nightmare, you're going to cause yourself more of a mischief. So being able to get a wee bit of light on the scenario, illuminate the situation, is going to help you out. Again, same with the wee glow stick. I could use it for reading my map to try and save my torch, or just checking anything out. It's just another good wee useful bit of kit. Moving down, a non-lubricated condom, because lubing a condom in that sort of scenario would be a nightmare. So I want it non-lubricated. It can carry up to a litre of water, and then I've got a load. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 puri tabs, so I could purify 8 litres of water in that condom. I would try and pre-filter it as best I could if I had to, through a sock, through a t-shirt, through anything I could, to try and keep any like crap and sediment or anything out of it before I have to add my puri tabs. Also, because I'm going to be losing so much salt, sweating because I'm flapping in a kind of stressful situation, salt's a really good thing. Stop you cramping up so you can keep moving and get out of the situation that you're in. Recap over it: cutting tools, shelter building, food procurement kit, fire lighting kit, personal first aid, navigation and water, all in this wee tiny tin. I could shine the inside of the tin up like mad, poke a wee hole in it and use it as a kind of heliograph trying to get attention. Loads of options. So yeah, that's my kind of take on a micro survival tin. Everybody's different, and you could add a million things. You could add a million things, but for me this is really simple: cutting tools, food procurement, trapping, shelter building, fire, personal first aid, navigation and water, because that's going to enable me to kind of keep moving. If I had to, I could set a trap up or two. If I don't catch anything, move on the next day, blah blah blah, and try and yob my way out of the situation I'm in. Or just stay where I am, get a shelter up, get a fire on the go, get some traps out in the local area, and await rescue. And I've got a fair amount of, I can purify water until I can get my fire on the go, keep myself hydrated, stop myself going down. So yeah, that's my take on it. And as I said, it's not going to be a standalone piece of kit. I'm not going to be naked. I would still have all the other usual pocket contents and a solid belt knife on me. I don't know why I've lost all of that and only got this tin and these scenarios that people concoct. Personally, I don't see a scenario where I would lose everything out of my pockets and my belt knife. I mean, in my pocket just now I've got a solid clasp knife, fire steel, first field dressing, loads of stuff. So yeah, just my take on it. I literally just wanted to do it because I wanted to pick up a few bits and bobs for Jacobite Solutions and Wazoo survival gear and stuff like that. I still can't remember the name of this thread. Why can't I this string? My head's went totally blank on it. Doesn't matter. It's absolutely solid anyway. It is massively strong, and I'm sure Aaron will edit it in now. I've done my wee thing, Kevlar string, that's what this is, Kevlar string. It is absolutely solid, and there's 6 metres of it there. So yeah, that absolutely done my head in. Kevlar string from Jacobite Solutions. Pow! That's what it's called. So yeah, as always, I've been Stuart, he's been Alan, you guys have been awesome. This is a very personal kit. Everybody's take on survival kits, or the reality, I suppose, as Dave Canterbury calls it, an inconvenient camping kit, is completely personal. As you've seen, I have a really extensive kind of large pouch survival kit that I keep in my Bergen, but this is just a wee kit that if I was on my knife and away from my main kit and I got into trouble, I suppose it's a redundancies kit. So if you like what we're doing, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good sounding stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Build your own kit, hopefully you've took some inspiration, and I'm sure all you guys will make great kits too.